one. But Pele, let me just do the show you the basics of deck seal. Now, deck seal, as the name implies, it is nothing but a seal, right? So you please keep on making the notes there. The deck seal is nothing but a seal. It is a barrier. Barrier for what? Anybody? What is the barrier for?
Backflow of gases.
Yeah, backflow of flammable gases from the tank area.
Hydro tanks to the.
Yeah, from the tank area or cargo tanks to the machinery space. Now, in machinery space, we are having heat is there. Heat is there. Oxygen is there. Now, if we can provide the fuel, there will be burning. Fire will be happening, right? So the flammable gases from the tank area, we need to keep it isolated. So there is not one, but there are total 3 barriers. What is the first barrier? The first barrier is a non-return wall. So if we have a look at the sketch there, किधर गया sketch? Correct.
पेज नंबर 9 पे
Page number
9 पे है सर.
Okay.
नहीं सर, उसी फाइल में 9 नंबर पेज पे, नेक्स्ट पेज पे.
File में. How come I am not able to see?
सर ये वेट टाइप के नीचे वाला ये पेज है सर.
वेट टाइप के नीचे वाला पेज है. ड्राई टाइप, सेमी ड्राई टाइप. Okay, but where is the sketch? I can't see. I've given you this page. ना ये 10-12 page I've already given you कि नहीं? Anyway, ignore. So what is the first one? Immediately after the tank deck, what is the first one? The first one is a manual valve. The first one is a manual valve. That is the forwardmost one. That is a manual valve. After the manual valve, we have a non-return valve. The non-return is an automatic non-return. We call it NRV, non-return valve. Usually it is flap type. So as long as there is a force flow of, let me just try to show you. So let's say this is my deck seal. The piping is coming from the engine room, right? And then it goes up from the deck seal, it goes up. And then this way, we have 2 valves here. This one is a manual valve which you can open or close. If you open, then the gas can go in whichever direction you want it to go. Now this one is a non-return valve. How the non-return valve works is there will be a flap here. There will be a flap in this one, right? Now, as long as there is no flow from any side, the flap is closed. And if the pressure increases in this area, the flap sits very tightly. Now, once the pressure increases in this direction, then what happens? The flap, it opens up like this, and the gas can flow through this one into the tank, right? So this is how the second one is there. This is an NRV. So manual valve, NRV, and then we have the deck seal. So right now we are looking at the deck seal, right? After this engine room or machinery space, in the machinery space also there is a second item, there is one seal there, that is the scrubber tower, but we will not look at that. Let us only look at the deck seal. Now deck seal is of three types: dry, wet, and semi-dry or semi-wet. Now dry means the inert gas, when it is passing through the deck seal, it do not get contact, there is no contact with any water or liquid. That is the meaning of dry, right? Dry means there is no contact of the inert gas with any water or liquid. That is dry. This is widely used on chemical tanks. Wet means the gas which is coming out of the from the blower, it will actually pass through liquid. Therefore, it is called wet. Wet means the inert gas will actually pass through the sealing liquid before it goes to the tank. This is called wet type. Widely used on large tankers, VLCCs and Aframax, Suezmax sizes, VLCCs. The reason is very cheap, easy maintenance, and cost effective. Now there is also a semi-dry type. The semi-dry type is slightly complicated in design. Let us have a look at one by one. Let us have a look at one of them, one at a time. Kidhar gaya? I hope everybody's made the sketches. We don't have the time to make the sketches in the class. Now I'm going to just highlight. Please, you can also update your sketches that you have made. So coming from engine room, this one, please join up. It is an enclosed compartment. Please join up. Right, from engine room, this is the inert gas. It comes in through here. This is also a continuous piping. This is a continuous piping. So therefore, you can see that the pipe is actually inside the liquid. It goes. So because the pipe goes inside the liquid, the IG has to be pushing the liquid, and then after pushing the liquid, it comes out of here. After pushing the liquid, it comes out of here. Now there is a demister pad. This demister pad is nothing but it's a pad which is it's a material. It's like a mesh material which absorbs some of the water which comes out. It tries to dry it. Not very efficient, but it tries to dry it and absorbs any impurities, carbon, etc. And therefore, the clean gas or the clean IG will actually then pass to the tanks. This is what happens. Okay, so this is how normally it works. Now, what this water inside, it is supplied by a seawater pump supply system. There is a seawater pump which supplies the water here, and then there is a drain. So there is this seawater pump which supplies the seawater, and the drain, it is continuously open. So continuously the liquid level is maintained. So you will have a small, like a porthole, through which you can see the liquid level. There can also be gauge glasses in which you can see the liquid level. The liquid level will be maintained. This is how the wet type of seal, it works. Now the question is, when IG is not flowing, then what happens? When IG is not flowing and there is high pressure in the tank, then what happens? Then the tank pressure, it comes in through the demister here, yeah, from tank. If the pressure comes in through the demister, now obviously again, this is all enclosed and this is all liquid here. So what it does is it pushes the liquid up. It pushes the liquid up. So there is a liquid column which this is the liquid column which seals. So liquid column sealing the flow of liquid, flow of inert gas. So IG is not able to push this one up so much, and therefore it will not be able to go back to the engine room. This is how.
सर ये जो बीच में लिक्विड कॉलम आता है ये सर कैसे आता है?
This pressure which is coming from the tank. Now let us say the tank is having 1000 mm pressure. So that 1000 mm pressure which is coming from the tank, when inert gas system plant is stopped. So if there is leakage in the valves, there is a leakage in the non-return valves. Now if all of these valves are leaking, then that pressure will come to the deck seal. Now when that pressure comes to the deck seal, then this deck seal, the pressure inside the deck seal will push the liquid. ये जो seawater है ना, this is seawater here. This seawater liquid is going to be pushed up in the pipe. And the height of the pipe is such that this pressure will never be able to push the liquid into the engine room. The height of the pipe is so high. It is all pre-calculated.
सर मेन प्रिवेंशन इसका ये होता है ना सर, आईजी का बैकफ्लो रोकना सर, तो इससे
Yeah, IG का backflow, this is how it stops, by creating a liquid column seal inside the pipe.
सर ये बाद में स्टेबल कैसे होगा?
Come back.
सर ये मतलब पानी का कॉलम हाई राइज हो गया एंड इट नॉट एबल टू गो अदर साइड, फिर इसके बाद वो स्टेबल कैसे होगा सर?
No, stable होने की जरूरत नहीं है. We are in deck seal. We are only interested to stop the backflow. We are only interested to stop the backflow. We don't have to make it even anymore. Not required. If you want to reduce the pressure, you use the other items which are provided. आगे में mass riser you are having PV valves. Worst case scenario, it will breach the PV breaker. But this is not a safety device. This is only a seal. This is to make sure that nothing will flow back, even in the worst scenario.
ओके सर.
ठीक है? So this is the dry kind of seal. I hope everybody has made the notes and marking update कर दिया.
सर ये डेमिस्टर पैड के बारे में एक बार फिर से बता दीजिए, और ये जो बैक प्रेशर के वाला फिगर है इसको एक बार फिर से एक्सप्लेन कर दीजिए सर. ये जो कॉलम बन रहा है इसका
Yeah, okay. The demister pads, they are like they're a special material. कुछ जाली टाइप का होता है. It's like it's a special material mesh. It's a special material with mesh. You need special stainless steel wires are used to make that. It is a special material with a mesh type of a thing. And then what is the purpose of that is to capture any particles, carbon and excess water. Carryover water will be there. To capture that carryover water, drops catch the any carbon or any other particles. So that is what is the purpose of the demister pad. And then IG is able to move into the tank. Now, when I look at the right hand side, now when the IG plant is stopped, then ideally there should be no pressure inside the deck seal. But if the pressure is high in your tank and there is some leakage from your manual valves as well as from the non-return valve is very rarely gas tight. So this is a very positive sealing arrangement. That is why we need. So in that case, what happens is it pushes the seawater. It pushes the seawater into the inlet pipe. This one is the inlet pipe and that one is the outlet pipe. This is the inlet pipe, we can say. Inlet pipe and this is the outlet pipe. So the seawater is pushed up into the inlet pipe so that it will create a liquid sealing column. And prevent any gas from moving into the inlet pipe. ठीक है ना? Is that
Yes,
okay?
sir. Thank you, sir.
Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Sir, means demister pad's main work is to pass through the gas only, not water
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
other
Demister
particles.
pad, the main purpose is to catch the water. Pani pakadna. Because there will be a lot of water drops which are going to be carried over from here, and that demister pads are going to catch that water.
Thank you, sir.
सर सी वाटर यूज होता है सर इसमें
Yes, seawater. We are using seawater.
सर जो मेरा शिप था ना लास्ट में उसमें इन्होंने फ्रेश वाटर का कनेक्शन दिया था फ्रेश वाटर पाइपलाइन जाता
Yeah,
था
that is fresh water. Fresh water will be used, especially if you are on chemical tankers or very fine products are being carried. But otherwise, on large ships, the volume of water requirement is very high. Therefore, we'll use seawater. Okay, before we look at semi-dry, let us look at the dry type. Now, in the dry type, what happens is we have the inlet pipe and the outlet pipe. Have a look. So this is the IG inlet from the engine room, coming from engine room. This is the IG inlet going inside. And then this is the outlet going to the tank. So under normal condition, there is no contact with any water. Under normal condition, there is no contact with any water. So there is no demister requirement, nothing is there. So the gas just comes in and it flows out. Now, when the IG plant is stopped, and there is no pressure, here, what happens? This can be a freshwater tank. This freshwater tank will have a drain valve here. This freshwater tank will have a drain valve here, which will drop the liquid into the chamber. Now, this drain valve, it drops the liquid into the chamber, and under normal circumstances, this is what is going to be maintained. Now, again, if there is any leakage of inert gas or flammable vapors from the tank, if there is any leakage and the pressure increases here, then again, this pressure is able to push the liquid column inside. That is how, again, a seal will be maintained, right? So what we have a floating tank, or we have an overhead tank, you can say, that is full of some fresh water or seawater, whichever one you like. Now that is pneumatically controlled, right? So when there is no pressure in the IG pipe going into the tank, when there is no pressure, yani ki IG plant is stopped, there is no pressure coming from the IG pipe going into the tank, then what will happen? That drain valve will automatically open, it will fill up the liquid inside, and it will stay there. Now, in case there is a backflow, then that backflow pressure will push the liquid inside the inlet pipe, and it will prevent the passage of vapor back to the engine room. Any doubts? Are we okay with this?
सर ये सारा समझ में आ गया अभी वापस से जैसे सभी सपोज अभी टैंक से आईजी निकाल दिया अभी वापस से आईजी उसमें डालना है सर फिर ये प्रोसेस कैसे होगा मतलब ड्रॉप टाइम में वापस
So let us say you want to start up the system again. When you want to start up the system again, you will have pressure coming in from here. Yeah? The pressure comes in from here. Now, once the pressure comes in from here, this is able to push all your liquid out through the drain. And also this is pneumatically controlled. So once the pressure in the inlet pipe is high, then it will open up all of these drains and it will drain out the liquid from here. Similarly, there will be a pump which is going to pump in the liquid and it is going to fill up this tank and it will keep it ready so that whenever the IG stops again, it will your tank is full of liquid to put it into the seal chamber. This is how. So this
सर
drain
वो खुल के सर मतलब जैसे ये वॉल्व खुल जाएगा फिर भर जाएगा वो बैकफ्लो की प्रिवेंशन के लिए ना सर
come back.
सर ये वॉल्व जो न्यूमेटिकली ऑपरेटेड है ये अगर खुल जाएगा तो फिर ये टैंक भर जाएगा नीचे वाला तो सर जो वापस आईजी आएगी उसके प्रिवेंशन
No. This one, as long as you see, this is an automatic valve control system. This one and this one, they are pressure regulated. right? The drain, the you can say the drain here, and the main, this is the main drain. The main drain, it will drain out from the entire chamber, and this drain valve at the top, it is going to fill up the chamber. So if you want, maybe we can call this one as inlet. We call this one as inlet. Then we call this one as the filling valve for the chamber, and then this one we will call it as the drain valve. I think that is better. Inlet, filling valve, and drain valve. So as long as the pressure is high, in the inlet pipe, right? As long as the pressure is high in the inlet pipe, the filling valve and the drain valves, everything stays shut. Filling valve and the drain valve, everything stays shut. As long as the pressure drops, your filling valve is going to open. As long as the pressure drops, your filling valve is going to open, right? And then once you have, it is going to seal and it's going to maintain it in this way. Now again, when the pressure increases, first your drain valve is going to open to seal out, to drain out everything, and your filling valve is going to shut so that the drop tank is full of the liquid. The drop tank is full of the liquid. You can, the top tank, it is called the drop tank. Is that okay? Are we able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Any questions?
सर वापस आईजी स्टार्ट करने से पहले मतलब पूरा टैंक हमको ड्रेन करना पड़ेगा, ये जो नीचे वाला उसके ब्लड प्रेशर के प्रिवेंट.
Once you want to start the IG and the pressure increases in the inlet pipe, once the pressure increases in the inlet pipe, the drain valve will open and it will drain out the liquid inside the chamber. And once it is free, and the filling valve is going to shut. Filling valve is going to shut, and the drop tank will fill up with the liquid. This
मतलब सर
method
ये
is used on chemical tankers.
ड्रेन, ये सर जो ये मेन ड्रेन वाल्व है ये आईजी के प्रेशर से ओपन होगा, मींस हमको
It is
मैनुअली ओपन नहीं करना है.
automatically regulated by pressure. बिल्कुल. It is automatically regulated by pressure. It is automatically we'll now look at the semi-dry type. Now semi-dry type is in between. Semi-dry type is in between. So we have a large U pipe here. And this U pipe, we have the from the engine room, we have the IG inlet. And this U pipe, as long as the pressure is high, it is going through this one, and then this is going to the tank. And on the side, we have what we call as a liquid tank. This one we will call it as a liquid tank. The liquid tank has got an overflow. And this one is your inlet. And this one is your seal tube, right? So this is the connection. So as long as the IG is flowing with a certain pressure, all the water is only collected in the liquid tank. There is no water anywhere else. And this flow of this flow in this direction, usually at very high pressure, what happens is it is able to create that venturi here, so that the this U keep is dry. U is dry. Why it is called semi-dry? Because there can be some small contact with water in this part. There can be some small contact with water in this part. That is why it is called semi-dry. It is not totally dry. It is semi-dry. Why it is not wet? Because if the IG is not passing through the liquid. If the IG is passing through the liquid, it will be wet. Right now, as soon as your pressure stops, this venturi pipe is neutralized, and therefore the liquid from the tank, it is going to come to the same level in this one. It will come to the same level. It will be like this. The liquid, itna liquid bach jayega. This is what is going to happen. Now, if there is any pressure coming from here, if there is any pressure coming from the tank side, it pushes the liquid down, and then I have a liquid column here, a liquid column seal, or we call it as a liquid seal column, whatever you want to call it. That is this one here, which is going to stop any liquid from passing into the engine. Gentlemen, please practice the sketches and these few points, whatever we have discussed. Please practice the sketches and the few points. Very, very common question in your paper. They are very specific. Sometimes they will give wet type, sometimes dry type, sometimes semi-dry type. So you need to sketch and explain. It's a 10 to 12 marks question. Therefore, both the sketches are required, right? The left-hand side as well as the right-hand side. Both sketches are required, and the simple explanation how it works. Do you think you are able to do that?
सर
Are you
ये
able to understand?
सर ये सेमी ड्राई टाइप में इनिशियली सर वाटर लेवल को पुश करके मतलब वो टैंक में डाल देगा क्या, मतलब इनिशियल स्टेज कैसा होगा?
Yeah. Initially that movement of the flow, or that huge volume of gas flow going through coming from the inert gas plant going to the tank is sufficient to push everything and keep everything there in that liquid tank, right? This seal, this U part here will be entirely empty. There will be no liquid here. This U part here will be entirely empty. Is that okay?
Yes sir.
ओके थैंक यू
ठीक है?
सर अगर
So
क्वेश्चन में
that-
आता है
ठीक है?
तीनों
So
से
that's- No, usually three of them are never asked together. Because it's a long question. Three of them will never be asked together. They are asking one or two maximum. जब भी ये क्वेश्चन आएगा, you must draw the left hand side, you must draw the right hand side, and in simple words, 4-5 लाइन में explain how it works. That's all is required. Do you think you are able to do that?
यस सर. सर एक चीज ये पूछनी थी कि ये तीनों सील्स मतलब किसी भी टैंकर्स में यूज हो जाती है, में केमिकल गैस या फिर ऑयल टैंकर में किसी में भी तीनों यूज कर सकते हैं?
Yeah. But on chemical tankers, especially that salt water wala is not very nice. Salt water wala is used on crude oil tankers.
Means that wet type.
If you want to generalize, wet type ones are used on crude oil tankers, dry type ones are used on chemical tankers, and semi-dry type ones are used on product tankers. This is a general way. But nowadays, most of the product tankers, they are using dry type. And as somebody just pointed out during our discussion, that instead of seawater, fresh water can also be used depending on the size and quantity. And of course, the cost of your cargo is very high. Definitely, I don't want it contaminated with seawater. But as far as crude oil ships are concerned, there is no issues. We will use seawater. Very, very, very corrosive environment, but the amount is quite high, and therefore, it's a continuous loss. It is not a closed cycle. It's a continuous loss, basically, of seawater being pumped from the sea into the deck seal, and then it drains out from the deck seal into the sea. Okay? So that's all about the deck seal.
सर डेक सील से कार्गो कैसे कंटामिनेट होगा? वो तो बैकफ्लो के लिए होता है ना, मशीनरी स्पेसिफिक.
Come back. Deck seal से
सर कार्गो कैसे सर वो मतलब कंटामिनेट हो सकता है?
Yeah, if there is any liquid flowing from the inert gas line, from the deck seal into the inert gas line, that inert gas line will obviously go into the cargo tank. And if there is a carryover of seawater or fresh water, whatever, it will go inside the tank, right? Now, for example, if you are carrying jet fuel and you end up with water inside the tank, your entire tank will be rejected.